Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of The Shed. Myself, Trevor. I'm delighted to be joined tonight by a special guest. She's an Atlanta Falcons fan and a huge NFL fan over there in the UK. I'm delighted to be joined by Meg from Ballers_Meg. Meg, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Um, You're a huge NFL fan and you're an Atlanta Falcons fan. So tell us the story, how you got into the NFL and how you became, or how the Falcons became your team.
So basically, on a weekend, I do security work on a bar, and my boss at the time was a huge NFL fan, and we were having a bit of a quiet shift, and there was a bit of time to kill, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to put the football on." I initially thought it meant soccer, but obviously meant American football. And I said, "Oh, I've never watched it. I don't really understand it." And then within a couple of minutes, I was hooked, and I was like, "What does this mean? Why are they doing that? What's the goal? What are they? Why is there a different team coming on? What on earth?" And had all the questions. Obviously, pestered the life out of him. Um, and he said, "Look, the best way to learn the game is just keep watching it. Just watch loads of games as much as you can." And then he sent me a schedule of when the games are on and stuff, our time, and how to watch them. So I started doing all of that. I'm still pestering him with questions, of course. And a few weeks later, we were on a shift, and I said, "Well, how do you pick your team? How if you're not from the States, what do you just randomly pick one? Do you go on the colour of their uniform? Like, what do you do?" And he said, "Well, you can pick who you like. Maybe pick somewhere you want to go visit. Pick a state that you're interested in. Look at the team colours. Would you want to wear them? That kind of thing." And I was like, "Right, okay." He said, "Oh, you could just spin a random wheel and pick one that way." I was like, "Right, okay." And then maybe half hour later, I'd said, "Oh God, we're going to have such a quiet shift tonight." Now, in security, you don't say that; it's a banned word. Um, and he said, "Right, I tell you what, as a forfeit for that, if we have to kick anyone out or if it kicks off, I'm deciding what team you support. If it doesn't and it's quiet, you can pick your own team." I was like, "Right, okay." Literally, needless to say, shortly thereafter, we were kicking someone out, and as we're kicking them out, he just shouts over, "You're an Atlanta Falcons fan, by the way."
Oh, and
So I lost a bet essentially and became a Falcons fan.
well, look, it's an amazing story, and everyone has their own version of, and yours is unique in a way. And at the time, were the Falcons doing okay, or were they poor, or?
So this was what, not last season, not maybe it was midway through the season before last, so it wasn't even that long ago.
uh,
2 years, give or take, and we weren't doing the best. Let's be honest. We still had Arthur Smith's regime underway. Not doing very good things. Um, but I was just excited to feel that kind of sense of belonging to a team, because when I support something, I'm all in 100 million%. So being able to just kind of say, right, okay, I'm following them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We we weren't doing great, but it's always good to start somewhere that's not on top, because then you can't fall from there, can you?
No, 100%. Like, I know what you're saying because people know my story. I started off as a Browns fan, and what attracted me to the Browns when I got into, say, the NFL maybe about 4 or 5 years ago was the helmet and the jersey color. I just, and I was delighted, like, in a way that they weren't the powerhouse or a powerhouse team, that you weren't just a bandwagon fan. But what into my story with the Browns was Deshaun Watson, and that's a totally different story. So when I went looking for a replacement team, I wanted a team that spoke to me, that had my values, and I wanted to see a leader out there. And the Buffalo Bills, the Bills Mafia, and Josh Allen were all them things. And that's my story. But I do understand what to feel and belong, and ever since that moment for me, that's why I do this, is because
Yeah.
you feel like you're part of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I respect the hell out of you for that, because I speak a lot on Deshaun Watson, as you can probably imagine. And just generally a lot of the Browns players right now, um, who deserve to be called out, in my opinion. So I respect that a lot.
Yeah, no, like it had nothing to do with the fans. It had nothing to do with their
No,
season. It's the principle, and there is principles. And if and I have never in my videos, I've never said was he guilty or was he innocent. That's something for someone else to decide.
yep,
My
no,
point was
absolutely.
he should have cleared his name first, and then if he was cleared, then get his contract, and that would be fine. But there's too much of it, and that was just my stance. But I'm a
Absolutely. No, I agree.
like, but everyone, as I said, we have our own story, and uh, as a Falcons fan, before your boss gave you the team, did you have anyone else in mind, or was it just you were still
Um,
looking and
I couldn't have even named you five teams at that time. I really couldn't have. Um, I had some friends who were big Baltimore Ravens fans, and so I knew of them, but I was watching them and nothing really spoke to me about them. It wasn't like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing Lamar Jackson, no matter how many times people think that I have some sort of problem with him, I don't. Um, I'm not dissing him at all. I think he's a cracking quarterback. But it just didn't speak to me. It wasn't something that I felt like I belonged to. And I felt like I would only be supporting them because my friends supported them, not because I wanted to.
yeah,
So yeah, I actually I was pretty. I mean, shortly after becoming a Falcons fan, I fell in love with Jason Kelsey. Um, because why wouldn't you? Um,
yeah,
and there was a brief moment where I was like, the Eagles are calling. However, obviously that was a wise move not to do that, because obviously he's gone now, he's retired and stuff. So now I just follow him as a human being because I think he's amazing.
yeah. He is liquid. I don't think there's anyone that can say a bad word about Jason Kelsey. He's where he played in that Eagles team, and when they had the push, or whatever you want to call it, the shove,
Yeah, tush push. Yeah,
tush push. He was amazing at what he was doing, and it's great to see him. You know, uh, when he's on whatever show he's on, when he's doing the NFL or his own show, the podcast, you'll watch it. He's just a nice guy, and I can't say any
yeah,
bad word about him.
absolutely, and such a character. Who wouldn't want to go for a drink with him? Let's be honest.
No, like himself and Ryan Fitzpatrick, like they're so like in ways,
Yeah.
uh, characters in their own sense, and it's great to have them. The world needs them.
Yes. No. Definitely.
But and for this coming season, as a Falcons fan, how much are you looking forward to it? Like, there's some teams, and they'll be going, "Oh my God, here we go again," and there'll be some teams that'll expect to be, knocking on the door. But there'll be always teams that'll go, we're looking forward to the season to see how we're going." How in your eyes, as a Falcons fan, is it looking for you?
I'm always just excited for some football to start back up. There is a game this month. Let's just for a second celebrate that. But as a Falcons fan, I'm really excited. I'm by no means saying that we are going to the Super Bowl, because we are not. Let's be realists, not optimists. Um, but we have fixed the things that we needed to fix on paper. So obviously we've not seen the team playing, we've not seen how it looks on the field. But last season the biggest thing that we needed was a pass rush. We needed that defense to be bolstered. We've done that in the draft. We've looked at that in the off season. The team looks to be under a decent leader. Um, a lot of controversy obviously around Kirk Cousins and the moves from last season, when we had they drafted MPJ in the first round of the draft, and I think Kirk Cousins has publicly spoken about how he felt that impacted the way he played and how he approached the team, but also not to neglect the fact he was injured. He was coming off of a serious injury. He was tentative at best. And so looking into next season, we've got, I feel, Michael Penix Jr. going into year 2 of his career, very strong quarterback. No, I wouldn't say, Hall of Famer or anything just yet, but lots of potential. Great players in the defense. I was rooting for us to get Jalen Walker and hoped upon hope that he would fall to 15 for us, and by some miracle he did. Um, Obviously didn't expect the James Pierce Jr. move, trading in at 26 to get him, and was very, very, very cautious about that move for obvious reasons. But he seems to have settled in well, and he's taken the coaching well from Raheem Morris and the coordinators across there. I think that, we've got good reason to show up for the South. I'm not seeing any reason why we can't be competitors for that division title this season.
Yeah, because in a way, Tampa Bay, I don't know, did they win it last year, or was it just given to them because it was in your hands at a stage? The Saints, well, they started off well, but like it was between yourselves and Tampa Bay. But like more so last season, you kind of handed it to them rather than they won it, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
you seem to have you got your pieces. Do you think Michael Penix will start this year, and would you have him over Kirk Cousins now that Kirk has had a year more to recover, or would you just be happy to see Kirk move on? If it was going to cause hassle.
So we've already named Michael Penix as our QB1 this season for the upcoming season, and I'm happy with that. I have to say, and it's not against Kirk Cousins, because I do think he was jaded by injury and by that choice to bring Michael Penix in when they did. They've just offered they had just offered Kirk Cousins such a huge amount of money. You would assume as Kirk Cousins that you're going in as their definite QB1, and then all of a sudden they've drafted a rookie QB, and he has to have been salty about that. I think he's a great quarterback. Do I think he's maybe had his day? Yeah. Does he fit in with our systems? I don't even think he fitted in with the Arthur Smith system, let alone, the new system that Raheem Morris is bringing in. I would have Michael Penix on there above Kirk Cousins, and I was screaming for that since week 6 of last season, when I started to see the kind of flaws in the plan with Kirk Cousins, and I think a lot of Falcons fans felt the same way. We needed that change at QB, and now we've got it. Hopefully, it's going to be more positive next season.
100%, and it should also help the likes of Bijan Robertson too, because like when he was drafted by the Falcons, I thought they were one lucky team to get him, but I don't think they've utilized him enough or given him the protection to let him be himself, to the player he can be, and hopefully this year it'll happen.
No, absolutely, and I think not only Bijan Robinson, but we saw Darnell Mooney coming out of his shell last season. We saw great things. Jesse Bates, a third, again on the defensive side, great player. We had Bijan just doing his usual superstar moves. Like he's an unbelievable player for
Oh,
me.
he is a superstar.
We didn't. I feel we didn't get the best of Kyle Pitts at all. I think that he let us down a lot of the time, either in the way that we used him or the way that he showed up. I would argue he was unhappy at the start of last season at staying with Atlanta. I'm hoping that he seems to have a better connection with Michael Penix. So I'm hoping that shows through in the way that they play together next season. But we've got so many pieces that are unbelievably talented, and on paper it should work. now that we've got that defense, like I said. But you never know until you see that on-field chemistry. You really don't.
No, that's true. Like, I know as a Bills fan, they've strengthened. Our weakness last year was our defense. They've strengthened it hugely this year. But you're there until you see it in action. You won't know how much stronger it is until you see the games happening and things happening. You're hoping, but
Yeah.
you don't want to paint all your colours to the mast until you see it in action.
No, absolutely. It's a hope and a prayer.
You yourself, as a Falcons fan, who are your favourite players? If you had to pick five, who would they be?
For Falcons right now, I would
Yeah,
say Jalen Walker is one. He's a bulldog, so I've got to back that.
yeah.
Jalen Walker, Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson, Jesse Bates. Who would my fifth one be? See, it's sad for me because Grady Jarrett would have always been on that list. He would have always been on the list, and obviously we don't have him anymore. So that's really sad. Oh, I'll put MPJ as my number 5. I'm gonna be optimistic with him and say Michael Penix. I mean, I said this about Kirk Cousins last season. I bought the jersey and everything, but we move.
Oh yeah.
Don't want to curse it.
Look at I got a Mac Hollins jersey from the end of last season, and like the season just finished, and I love Mac Hollins. He brought an energy to the Bills that I as a special teams player and as a wide receiver when they used him, he was always on the sideline pumping things and enjoying the crack, and brought an energy to this place. Got the jersey, and 2 weeks later he's gone to the Patriots. So it happens.
It's mad. It's mad, isn't it?
But that's the joys. Look at and I wish him well. I just hope we batter them every time we play them. But when he's not playing us, I wish him all the best. Going forward, I know there hasn't been a ball thrown or kicked or attacked or anything like that this season. But looking at what teams have done this year so far, who would be your top 3 picks as of now in the AFC, and who would be your top 3 picks in the NFC to be there or thereabouts come the end of the season?
Well, I've actually got a full rundown. I don't know if you've seen any of my season predictions videos online, but I actually have them in notes form, by the way. Handwritten.
That's brilliant.
So my predictions as the top 3 for AFC would be at 3, the Texans, at 2, the Chiefs, and at 1, the Bills.
Very good.
So, good pick. The NFC, I've got 3rd, Tampa Bay, 2nd, Philadelphia, and 1st, Minnesota.
They are interesting
AFC
picks.
champions Bills and NFC champions Vikings.
Well, I wouldn't argue or fault that in any way. They're very interesting picks. The Vikings is a team that if JJ McCarthy turns up, they have an awful lot of weapons, and they were thereabouts last year with Sam Darnold, all right, but it just fell short, and they are a team that's worth watching.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, it's good to hear that, from outside the Bills camp that someone else has a bit of faith in the Bills. But the game I'm looking forward to most as a Bills fan is the Chiefs. It might be sour milk or whatever, but we were robbed in that AFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, would we have beaten the Eagles in the Super Bowl? It would have been a different game, but like that Eagles team that night, they were awesome.
They were unbelievable.
They were like the way they shut down the Chiefs, full stop. There was their defense was, but we'll never know. But that's that.
Yeah,
it's not the Patriots or the Jets or the Dolphins. It's the Chiefs I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, I mean fair enough. That there's a a score to be settled there, isn't there?
There is. In your own division, you have the Panthers, and you have the Saints, and you have the Buccaneers. With this season, the off season just finishing up, and pre-season going to start, which of them teams have improved in your eyes, or are they along the same boat as last year? And which team do you fear the most as your closest competition if you're to win that NFC South?
So I think obviously the Buccaneers has to be our closest rival, and I don't think that that's changed much, other than the fact that, and I keep saying this, people are, all about the Buccaneers, but I don't think they've done as much as they might have needed to catch us this season. You know, obviously they've got weapons, but they are an aging team. You've got
There, yeah.
Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, all those players that are their standout key players took some fairly big hits last season. We saw that with the injuries. We saw that they struggled through injury. But I do love Bucky Irvin, so I think the Panthers are the most improved, and I think we're going to be shocked by them. I think Bryce Young started to really show up at the end of last season, hugely, and I think people maybe underestimate what the Panthers can do next season. The Aints, I think, are in full rebuild. To be honest, they are going nowhere this season, or nowhere fast anyway. Tyler Shove at quarterback, I think, would be their best bet, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to try possibly Rattler again. I mean, it's a bit of a shambles over there in their QB room, let's be honest. Why they didn't draft either Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart in round 1 beats me. Really, really beats me. Or even tried to trade up for Cam Ward, but I think we're going to see a pretty devastating season for the Saints next year. And, I'm first and foremost a football fan, and I am, even though they're our biggest rivals, I hate to see that for a team, because they've been riddled with injury. They've not had the best luck, and I would rather be able to beat them at their best than, just beat them because we can.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, the days you remember is the days you beat the teams when they were at full tilt. If you were missing 2 or 3 players, or like the Saints were with the quarterback, and you beat them by 40 or 50 points, you're going, sure, that's not the team you're going to, you'll enjoy the moment, but you won't enjoy it overall. Bryce Young, he is a guy, I think, this year that will have, I think what they did last year when they benched him, I know it was lucky he got back in because of injury to Andy Dalton, but he got back in, and when he got back in, he was a different player.
Yeah, 100%. And we saw that confidence that he didn't have before. I think he realised that he needed to do something drastic because big changes were afoot otherwise. And he needed to prove himself. And I would argue that in the end of the season, he started to really show up.
Well, he did. Like, they were, the results weren't, they were a poor team anyway, but his play from the first part of the season and his previous season to the end of last season was chalk and cheese. Like, he was a man possessed kind of thing.
100%. 100%.
And again, like that, I know they're your rivals, but for him, like, he's watched CJ Stroud, who was the number 2 pick, flourish at Houston, and is getting probably all the praise he should be getting if he had turned up for Carolina at the start. So hopefully it's something that gives him a bit of a bite to kick on and be the quarterback he should, for this coming season.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you were to, again, I know we're pre-season and kick off, where do you think your 4 teams, how they line up at the end of the season, in your opinion now?
Where do I think what, sorry?
Sorry, the NFC South, how will it look by the end of the season as of now. I know things will change during the season, but if you're to pick now, who would be your 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I think I would love to say the Falcons at one, and I'm going to optimistically say Falcons at one. I don't see a reason why not if everything works as it should. Um, Tampa Bay second, Panthers third, Saints fourth. But I think that
Even
one
if
and
it,
two are interchangeable.
well, it is, but like as I said earlier on, like last year, season gone, like he kind of handed it to them in a way. Like it wasn't that the Buccaneers ran away with the division or anything like that.
No,
But
no.
so and if things go the way as in paper, and hopefully for both your team and my team on paper that it works out well, there'll be the improvements needed that was missing last year.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What other stories interest you now as outside of the Falcons in the NFL in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
I think the biggest one that we've got to talk about is the 30 second round picks that are holding out on their contracts right now, right? I mean, we've got 30 rookies sitting here saying we're not signing that contract. And it's all based around the idea that the minimum payout clause in the contracts is actually falling short of what they would be making in NIL money from college. And that's the crazy thing about the changes to college football and the fact that they can make such big money at college. They're getting to the NFL and these teams are saying, well, we'll sign you to maybe a 20-30 million deal, but your minimum, payout might be 2-3 mil. They're like, well, I'll stay at college for another year then. I'll redraft next year.
It,
That to me is interesting.
it is, and it was the Texans and the Browns that gave the guarantee contract, wasn't it, to two of the players?
Yeah, yeah. So we've still got those 30 others that are saying nope.
Yeah, it's like every sport has their own different ways of messing things up, but you would think with college football feeding into the NFL, it's best players to make the NFL the best league it can be, that they would be on the same page where they wouldn't be hurting each other by
Yeah.
saying, well, as you said, I can get more money staying another year of college than I can going in here with G now.
Yeah. Oh no, it's crazy. I think the other big story of the last maybe 2-3 weeks is the Aaron Rodgers statement that he is finally saying that this is his last season. Whether it is or not, that's the thing that worries me, because he needs to just get gone now. He needs to be off of my screen and not messing up any more teams and not ruining anyone's life and stopping giving out bad medical advice that's unwarranted and not asked for. That would be great, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, yes, and you're singing to the preacher here. Like I watched the McAfee interview, and he wants his life to be private. Now, everyone deserves it, and on a personal level, I have nothing against him. Good luck, let him be happy, and if he's married, good and well, and if he's not, I hope he finds and he's with his love or whatever. But if you want to be, if you don't want the paparazzi after you're taking photographs, then you don't go on the Pat McAfee show. You just go to Pittsburgh, do your thing, go home, stay out of the way. And
Man can't help himself. He can.
no,
He also makes inflammatory comments that he knows for a fact are getting the attention of the media. When he got asked if he would go to New Orleans, and he in New Orleans turned around and was like, I would never, ever set foot here. I'd rather never play football again than play for New Orleans. I'm at a certain age now, and it doesn't appeal to me to live here, and all that nonsense. He's rude. First of all, his family deny all knowledge of a marriage, by the way, and there is no marriage certificate filed anywhere that says he legally got married. I'm just saying. The fact that he kept the Steelers waiting as long as he did, when easily they could have taken the burden of Kirk Cousins from us and paid some of his salary, thank you very much. But instead, they were sat waiting for months for him to make a decision. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, look, I agree with you. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like they're coming to Dublin. There's a huge big hoorah around the place pre Rodgers coming. The tickets were going to sell out anyway. It didn't matter because it was the first NFL game in Ireland. But the Rooneys had done so much to get this game to Ireland, and the Steelers are coming, and as it turns out, it's the Vikings they're playing. But my point being, the draft happened. They didn't pick a quarterback because they were waiting for Rodgers. Now, if this is his last year, and if he wants to win a Super Bowl like he makes out he does, or go as far as he can in it, then you would be saying, right, if this is my last year, I'm going to spend every second I can with this team, help them every way I can, do everything I can. They're going to pay me the money I want anyway. And then whatever else happens, we can walk away and say, I gave everything. Yeah. Before the season has started, he's already messed them around because they've probably bent over for him because they were left stuck. They had no option. Like, it was Mason Rudolph or the rookie they had, as their choice.
Yeah. But they could have also, if he'd given them an answer and told them he was only going to stay for a year, they could have traded down for a decent rookie QB. They could have taken, again, Shedeur Sanders was right there waiting for them. They could have picked him up, and he could have been underneath the wing of Aaron Rodgers or a seasoned quarterback for the whole season. And instead, they held out. They were like, no, we're staying loyal to our guy. We've given him an offer. But actually, look to the future of the team, because next season they're either starting with a rookie or they're starting with Mason Rudolph, and neither look great.
Exactly, and they've put a lot of, like, no more than the Jets before he signed. They got him a lot of weapons and tools that has. Well, I don't know. Will it help them next year when they go looking to freshen things up? Like DK Metcalf, yes, that's a very good signing, but maybe he's not as unstable on the pitch as George Pickens was. George Pickens could be brilliant 1 minute and could throw the toys out of the pram the next. But like TJ Watt, he's I don't think he signed any contract yet. They're still in negotiating, and he's our
stalemate. As of yesterday, they've reached a stalemate again with that one.
Yeah, if TJ goes, that's their one of their main defensive players and leaders gone. It'll shake things up on them, and then he's going to be going next year, or so he says. I think he set the Jets back, to be honest, how he dictated things, and I think he'll try the same thing at the Pittsburgh Steelers when the season kicks off.
Oh yeah, he's got a god complex, so he's going to try and take over, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. And the thing is, Mike Tomlin is a legend in NFL. The length he has lasted, never having a losing season. And if things go wrong for, like, the Bills battered the Jets in that, I think it was the second last or third last game at the Highmark last season, but they were 40-0 up, and he refused to go on. Now, then, if that's his attitude and something like that happens during the season, how can you look at him and go, he's a leader?
Yep, can. You absolutely can.
And it's not about the point of the Bills beating the Jets or hammering them or anything like that. The point of it being is, if you're a leader, whether you're winning 40-0 or losing 40-0, you're out on that pitch and you're trying, even if things aren't going well, you're trying to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I hope for Mr. Rodgers in the NFL that he sucks, and that nothing against the Steelers, but he sucks, no. And it's the end of him.
Yeah,
as a footballer.
I hope so.
And on a happier note, tell us everything about yourself and your podcasts and your videos and social media.
So this gets longer every time someone asks me at the minute because I've got so many things going on. Across all social media, it's the username you can see here, ballers_Meg. So it's X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is the Meg Zone. But everywhere else, it's ballers_Meg. You can also find me on the AAW network, which stands for the Asleep at Work Network, and Hurdle the Line podcast weekly on a Tuesday morning UK time, 6 a.m. Also weekly on the TSS Fantasy, which is an American show all about fantasy football. So if you need anything for your fantasy drafts coming up, look us up on that sports podcast network. And our latest addition to the Ballers Network is we have started our very own Britball podcast, or Britball Network, where we are starting a podcast, all the socials are at the Britballers, and we will be zoning into American football in the UK.
Very good. That's an awful lot of work. Fair play to you.
It keeps me busy.
Well, if you enjoy it, that's the main thing with it.
Yeah.
The Falcons, they're going to Germany. They're playing the Colts. Are you going to Germany? And do you get tickets? And what do you think?
To be continued with that one. I don't know is the honest answer. I've not got tickets as yet. However, I did recently achieve my NFL media credentials. So watch this space is what I'm going to say.
Well, that's for sure. Well, I wish you the best luck, and hopefully you'll get there with your media credentials.
Fingers crossed.
The Germany game seems to be like all the games that have been played there so far. The fans are amazing over there. The crack is great over there. It should be, regardless who's playing, but for yourself as a Falcons fan, it should be something amazing over there for you if you do get to go over.
Oh, absolutely. And Germany have a huge Falcons following. The Falcons fans over there, I'm, in contact with a couple of them through social media, and their group is just fantastic. So much positive energy. And regardless of whether I make it out there to the game or not, I think it will be an absolutely amazing game to watch, even from home. So I'm excited for it. I think it'll be really good for us.
Yeah. Look at it. It is. It seems to be an amazing place. The atmosphere at the games, I suppose, no more than London and at Wembley and Tottenham Stadium, and no more than how Croke Park will be this September and Madrid. They should, like, the teams that are coming over, they will be well supported.
Yeah, 100%.
And will you try to get to any of the London games, or is that?
At the minute, again, that's to be continued. But I am hoping to get to at least one of them, hopefully. But with the way my work is at the minute, it's whether I can do that or not is touch and go right now.
Well, look at I've been to the Tottenham Stadium, and I'm an Arsenal fan. So for my sins, but the stadium is beautiful. It's immaculate.
Yeah.
It's. I was at the Emirates the day before for a visit just to see it, and I love the Emirates. It's a beautiful stadium. But when you go to the Tottenham Stadium, you can see the 20 years of a difference between them. It's an amazing stadium, and it's an amazing venue, and the atmosphere is brilliant too.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping, if not this year, then definitely next year. We'll just have to see how it goes, I think.
Yeah, no bother. And my last question for you tonight, and it's going to be the hardest one to predict now, and might be the hardest one to predict at the end of December, but we'll see. Who is going to win the Super Bowl?
I am not just saying this, but I've got the Bills winning the Super Bowl.
You're welcome on this show anytime, Meg.
I hope that for Josh Allen's sake. I really hope that, because I love him. I think he's great.
I could start a conversation here and talk to myself via you for the next 3 days about him. I think he is top of the range, top of the world. what attracted me to him, and yes, there's other players that do it at different times, was a 13-second game when the chips were down on the sideline. You could see him pumping lads up, to keep them going, and then to get to know him and to follow his life. You can only see it from a distance, but the parts you can see, he's a guy I would go out and battle with any day of the week.
No, definitely. What a leader. He's fantastic. So I hope for, if it's not my Falcons, then I hope that you guys get that dream this year.
Well, we'll keep the fingers crossed and look at vice versa. The Falcons are a team that, if things go well for them and it's not the Bills' year, well, why not be the Falcons' year?
Hopefully.
So look at Meg, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure, and look at it's I like to meet people, make friends, and have people on the show and let them tell their NFL story, and and your story is an amazing one, like the way your team was chosen for you, and to be fair, you stuck by it, so he cannot say anything to you.
Yeah, no, and I will stick by it until I die, although Washington Commanders do have a very soft spot in my heart as well. So
we can always have a second favourite when our owner when it's not going well for our own team. So there's no harm with that either. No. But look at that. That's the show for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I'll put up this on YouTube now in about an hour's time, and it'll be there. Meg, I wish you the very best luck. If we will see how you are fixed during the season, and coming close, maybe November, December time, if things are free, we'll get you back on and we'll talk about how things are going in the season so far.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much. Look at folks. Thank you very much for watching. We'll have a show again, hopefully during probably next Tuesday evening when the training camp kicks off, and I'll have my own co-host back again by then. She's going to the training camps at St. John Fisher's Park, so hopefully she'll have some information then. Meg, I wish you the very best of luck, and to everyone watching, stay safe, stay happy, and as always, go Bills and go Falcons.